Go and sit at my end.
Mr. President, inspection over. May I have your permission to march off the guard? Aye, Mr. President.
So that's in your shorts now. The chamber itself, the president is already in Parliament House, and as we speak, he's going to be ushered in by the Speaker of Parliament, and the Majority Leader Alexander Afenyo-Markin is also out there to welcome the president together with the Speaker into the chamber. And if you're just joining us, this is our coverage of the State of the Nation address, and this is the final State of the Nation address for the President, Nana Addo Akuffo Addo. This is accordance with Article 67 of the 1992 Constitution that says that the President shall, at the beginning of each session of Parliament and before a dissolution of Parliament, deliver to Parliament a message on the state of the nation. And that's exactly what's really going to happen. At the beginning of Parliament, the President did that first delivery, and now the dissolution of Parliament, which is going to happen on the 6th of January in the morning, according to the press conference put together by the Parliament. In the morning, there will be that dissolution of Parliament, and then later in the evening, around 11 p.m., the entire process will start for the swearing in of members of the 9th Parliament, which will move into midnight. And then in the morning of the 7th of January, we'll have the inauguration of the President-elect, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. So what we're seeing now, what's going to happen now, is the entire process that will lead us to the final inauguration day, which is on the 7th of January. And when that happens and is said and is done, whatever concerning the elections and the transition and the handing over comes to an end, and then we move full swing into the governance aspect of the new administration, which is the NDC administration. And my guest in the studio is Dr. Joshua Zato, who is a senior lecturer, Department of Political Science, University of Ghana, and he's also a political and policy analyst. So in your shots now, you're seeing members from the majority side and, of course, the minority side to interacting. And look, we're briefly talking about the 8th Parliament and that theory we had earlier that
came crashing.
Executive.
It basically came crashing because what we realized is that we thought that if we divide it evenly, people will rise above their partisan interests, people will rise even their personal political interests, and then they will carry national. But it never happened.
Yes.
So we saw that the deadlocks in Parliament, their inability. Look, it has been very simple. Presenting a budget for the transition has been a very routine, a very normal, simple thing. Yeah. But it never happened. It was supposed to happen somewhere September, October. It never did. So that is why, probably, look, I would say that maybe it fed into the way Ghanaians voted. To say that rather, because the blame shame was good enough, and that there were times when we all know that the simple common business of government was upheld. And most of it was because of partisan interest. So that is why probably the Ghanaians decided, you know what, for this particular time, we're just going to go and give it to one person. So that now
which then becomes again the rubber stamp we didn't want.
Thank you. So but maybe the voters have chosen that, look, we prefer this rubber stamp to the other one. Okay. Because then it's clear, it's easier for us to understand. Most of the MPP MPs lost electoral defeats probably because of this. Now, so that's for me, it was now. To an extent, the accountability measures they did and how they were able to keep the government accountable were also there. They were also there in control. And then you also then saw that there were times where the executive was more wary. There was a time when everything just shipped to Parliament or passed, Yeah. But this time the position was wary. Some appointments were not made because they think they didn't have what it takes to get them across the line. Some things were not sent to Parliament because, and whenever you have an opposition being worried or concerned that this may not pass Parliament, that's a good thing. It means that they then have to go back, either make it better or do this. And some of the changes. So for me, the 8th Parliament had its lows and highs and lows, but I think on average, if we want to put it together, what we thought, the ideal we thought, our expectations were not met.
Okay, all right. One other interesting thing about the 8th Parliament is when we saw the change in leadership, both sides. The NDC, Honorable Haruna, and then Mutaka, together with the others, actually changed. And then we had Dr. Atufosin coming in, Kwame Boja coming in, Akuffo Addo also coming in. For the MPP side, the veteran Osayi Mensah had to actually make way for Alexander Peña-Makin. We saw Frank Addo also coming in and others. These changes, we're looking at these both sides. First of all, for the NDC, we saw those changes. Did they actually help them?
Well, they've won. It's a majority, so you could say that could be. If that was the ultimate objective, it has been achieved. Okay. Because sometimes, look, what your team could play so bad, by the end of the day, they win and you're like, it has been achieved. Because at the end of the day, then gains as it was a success. But even this was the Muntakas that were removed, it wasn't just because of this and because of an economic decision. Because then there were serious issues within the parties. You could look at it. That the party in and of itself, it was also about loyalties in the NDC, whether you like it or not. It is a...
We're seeing the chief there. That's a hug. United Vanderpoy and then Henry Cote, the Interior Minister. Joining them is Nelson Dafiamefo, and in a very beautiful conversation that they are having in there, exchanging pleasantries. So this is the Chamber of Parliament, and like I stated earlier, in your shots you're seeing the Chief of Staff, Madam Primoz Sofari. You're also seeing the wife of the Vice President, Najasemira Baumia, and then you're seeing the First Lady, Mrs. Rebecca Akuffo Addo, and when your shots there is Adwo Asafo also, and then we have George Merikuduka exchanging some pleasantries there with the First Lady and then the wife of the Vice President, and then the Chief of Staff too. And again, in your shots, moving at just at the other side of your eye is a conversation going on between Nilati Bandapo, who's actually going out of Parliament and is not coming back into the 9th Parliament. And then, interestingly, Henry Cote too, who's the Interior Minister, is also not coming back to Parliament because he lost his seat. Nilati did not actually contest this time around, but Henry Cote did contest, and that's I also not the Central. I also did Central, and he lost that particular seat there to the NDC. Yes, we're talking about the changes in leadership.
Yes. So you saw that part of it was that at that time we was explained there was a very simple argument that it is going to be about the economy, let's bring the economists to reform. So that was the argument that was so. But there was an argument that was a power struggle. It was almost like a code like within there. It was about loyalties. Because it was agreed that the Honorable Muntaka and this were not loyal enough to President Mahama. And that they also used to build their power to succeed. You had these dynamics going on. So if both the national chairman and the presidential candidate thinks that you, the minority leader, then you were being too powerful, you were not loyal to them, then it looks like curbing their wings and freedom from flying.
Okay. Before we come to the majority side in their leadership, we're also live on Lombard for doing their listening. We are live on Unique FM 95.7. That's taking care of the Greater Accra region and some parts of the southern parts of this country. On the shots now, these are pictures of traditional leaders who are also present at the public gallery. So you have that's Eli Afote Addo, former member, still a member of the NDC. And a traditional leader there representing the Ponkatawanso area there. So these are traditional leaders there in your shots at the public gallery, and all these people are present to listen to the President's final State of the Nation address, which he'll be delivering anytime soon. And these are members, of course, of the diplomatic corps also present at the public gallery. Yes, so for the majority side, we also saw the veteran, Chairman Sabonsu, making way for Alexander Peña-Makin. It was a very interesting switch because with his experience, I mean, Chairman Sabonsu, the expectation was that he was going to stay.
So now, the switch in the majority side was political, pure political.
Okay.
Because remember, the MPP runs north, south, north, coast kind of arrangements. If the presidential candidate is, let's say...
Speaking of the switch, I mean, you can see Osayi Mensah there talking to Asenso Boachi, who's the Minister for Roads and Highways. You also have Patrick Boama, and there's also the Attorney General there behind them. Adwo Asafo seated, and these are sides of the majority side. And as we speak, the President is gradually making way into the chamber. The President is making way into the chamber now. We're also live on Facebook, which is Ghana Broadcasting Corporation, and then GTV. So we are getting you live from all angles that you can actually think of, on television, on radio, and then of course on the internet. And I would say that it's the biggest coverage we're giving, coming from the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation. In a short time, the Speaker of Parliament, and there's also the Vice President there, followed by the President. It's an exchange of hug there coming from Adrasafo, and then
the NPP. So the moment you had His Excellency Dr. Bawumia from the North, you had his running mate Honorable Matthew Pogo from Ashanti, it became redundant to then have another Ashanti speak. North, South, Coast, as their ticket going forward. And that was and also remember then Honorable CHMS was also moved to the campaign. He was playing because he was the chairman of the manifesto committee and one of the co-chairmen of the campaign itself. So it was also to free him and give him a chance so that he could play a bigger role in the campaign.
As the president is entered the chamber now, exchanging pleasantries. Earlier he just spoke with the former First Lady, Nana Akufo Rollins, and then the former President John Akuffo also present there at the chamber. The president is now about to take his seat. Obviously, in that presidential seat, in a short now is the vice president. So what we have here from my right, you have the vice president, and then there's the Speaker of Parliament who's in white. And then next to the Speaker of Parliament is the President, who will take the middle seat. And then right after the President, to my left and to your right, who is watching us, is the Chief Justice, and now the national anthem.
Can we talk after the anthem?
I want to warmly welcome His Excellency Nana Akuffo Addo, President of the Republic of Ghana, and the Commander-in-Chief of the Ghana Armed Forces to the House. Before I invite him to perform a very important constitutional duty. Kindly allow me to acknowledge the presence of the following people. His Excellency, the President is ably supported in the performance of this duty by His Excellency, the Vice President, His Excellency Mahmoudou Bawumia, we also have the presence of Her Lordship, the Chief Justice, Justice Gertrude Tokonu, and for sure we have the presence of the spouse of His Excellency the President, Her Excellency Rebecca Akuffo Addo. And His Excellency the Vice President is with his better half, the spouse, Her Excellency Samira Bawumia. And I have with me my wife, the Left Honorable Madam Alice Ajwa Jonas. Her Excellency, our leadership, the Chief Justice, is accompanied by her spouse, Mr. Francis Okunu. We also have with us the Chief of Staff, Honorable Akuffo Addo. We could not be joined by the chairperson of the Council of State, he is ably represented our own veteran politician, lawyer, the person of Mr. Sam Okudjato, Senior Advocate of Ghana. We have with us the evergreen former president, His Excellency John Ajekum Kufuor. It's very important on your behalf. He is always present anytime we have an important function in Parliament, and we are extremely grateful to you, Your Excellency. We also have another very important partner of us. She is always also ever present anytime we have an activity here. I'm referring to Her Excellency, the former First Lady, Nana Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings. We have with us here almost all members of the diplomatic corps that are here with us, and definitely you can see them at the important visitors public gallery. The heads of the various security services are all here with us, and we have a number of chiefs and queen mothers present in this house. We are blessed with the presence of our religious leaders who actually keep us healthy by always praying for us and making sure that the blessings and favor of the Almighty God remains with us forever and ever. With this, I'll now proceed to invite His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Ghana, to deliver his message on the state of the nation. Your Excellency, you may do so now. Honorable members, please. This is a very important occasion, and you are in the house we refer to as August House, House of Honor and Dignity. We expect nothing apart from honorable behavior from you, and please, let's listen to His Excellency in absolute silence. I thank all of you for your compliance.
Mr. Speaker, it's my constitutionally mandated period as President of our country nears its very end. I come before this august house to perform my last official public duty. I'm grateful for the opportunity to give an accounting of my time in office, spell out the highlights of the state of our nation, and place on record the Ghana I'm handing over to my successor. In accordance with protocol and convention, it is good to see that my wife, First Lady Rebecca Akuffo Addo, Vice President Mahamadou Bawumia, Second Lady Samira Bawumia, the Joa Jonas Bagman, Chief Justice Gertrude Tokunu and spouse, and justices of the Supreme Court, the representative of the chairperson, Mr. Sam Okujeto, and members of the Council of State, Chief of Staff at the Office of the President, the Honorable Akuffo Addo Parry, and officials of the Presidency, Secretary to the Cabinet, Lieutenant General Thomas Opon-Pipra, the Inspector General of Police, Dr. George Akuffo Dampare, and the various service chiefs are all present. The Speaker, the House is also duly honored by the welcome attendance of the former President of the Republic, John Ajikun Kufuor, former First Lady Nana Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings, and the Dean and members of the Diplomatic Corps. Mr. Speaker, before I commence my message on the state of the nation, I want to put on record that I am deeply saddened by the devastating fire at Kantamanto Market, which took place yesterday, and has left many traders and their livelihoods in ruins. My thoughts and prayers are with those affected, and I extend heartfelt sympathies to the hard-working trade relevant agencies to ascertain the causes of the fire and to provide the needed support. As a nation that is uniting compassion and solidarity to help those who have suffered losses, together we can extend a helping hand to our fellow Ghanaians in need during this challenging time. Mr. Speaker, it is important to state at the outset that serving the Ghanaian people as president has been the greatest honor of my life. It has been one of great challenges and even greater triumphs, one that has demanded every ounce of my energy, commitment, and love for our beloved country. My vision has always been to see a Ghana that is self-reliant, prosperous, and united, a beacon of hope, democracy, and opportunity in Africa and beyond. That vision remains undimmed, and I'm confident that the strides we have made together will propel Ghana to even greater heights. Mr. Speaker, the first responsibility of a government is the safety and security of the state and its people. I'm happy to report that our country's territorial integrity is intact and all our borders are secure. In a neighborhood of widespread instability, it is no longer an assumption that we can make that our land will be safe and secure. Ghana, by the grace of God, remains the only country in the neighborhood that has not fallen victim to terrorist violence. It has taken a lot of concerted effort, and dare I say a lot of money, to enable us to protect our country from the ravages of the variety of terrorist groups operating and destabilizing other countries in the neighborhood. I wish to pay great homage to the security services and their ministerial leaders for the work they do every day to keep us safe. Mr. Speaker, it gives me no great pleasure to state that an important and integral part of the fabric of our society and the hallmark of our traditions, chieftaincy, continues to be a source of insecurity and destabilization. Upon coming into office, we worked hard with considerable assistance from the Committee of Eminent Chiefs, with Tufo Asantehene, the Nairi, and the Yabawura, to bring finally a resolution to the conflict which had blighted the ancient kingdom of Gabon for many, many years. Bringing peace to Gabon remains one of the high watermarks of my time in office, and I have been so looking forward to counting it with pride as the top of the list in resolving chieftaincy disputes and conflicts. Unfortunately, the sad situation in Boko must necessarily dampen any enthusiasm about the resolution personally. But in spite of our best efforts, the Boko conflict remains unresolved. Boko is unhappily not the only area of chieftaincy conflict. And judging from the experience of other parts of the country, I will have to mark chieftaincy as a growing source of insecurity that will continue to require a lot of attention. It is clear that part of that process is the need to strengthen the capacities of the Ministry of Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs and the Peace Council, the two frontline institutions responsible for dealing with chieftaincy and other disputes. Mr. Speaker, In my inaugural speech at my swearing in my first term on 7th January 2017, and early on in that term, I made a public commitment to tackle galamsey, the phenomenon that had been ravaging our environment and destroying our lands and water bodies in the pursuit of mining our gold. I knew and was very much aware that fighting galamsey was not a universally popular position for a president to take. But I felt strongly enough about the need to protect our environment to say I was prepared to put my presidency on the line in the defense of our lands and water bodies. And indeed, Mr. Speaker, the fight against galamsey led directly to the loss by my party of several parliamentary seats in the 2020 elections, and to the makeup of this 8th Parliament, which affected the implementation of my policy agenda and impacted the second term of my presidency. I welcome the many loud converts to the fight against galamsey that suddenly appeared in the run-up to the 2024 elections. And I pray that more and more of us get to embrace the need for the protection of our lands and water bodies. As I have stated on numerous occasions, the fight against galamsey is not a fight against mining or the extraction of the gold the Almighty has so generously endowed us with. But we owe it to future generations of Ghanaians to extract our minerals in a manner that protects our lands and water bodies. I'm happy to be able to say that we've implemented some of the boldest and most progressive policies in the mining, forestry, and land sectors. As a result of these policies, we overtook South Africa as the leading producer of gold on the continent and have consistently increased gold production to reach an unprecedented 4 million ounces last year. Not only have we revamped dormant mines like the Obuasi and Bibiani mines, we've also worked to deliver the Cardinal Namdi most large-scale mine in northern Ghana and the first greenfield gold mines in our country in more than a decade, with the ongoing construction of new mines in Akuffo by Newmont and Upper West by Azuma Resources. To add value to these volumes of minerals, we have constructed through a public-private partnership a 400-kilogram capacity gold refinery here in our country. We've also concluded discussions with the parent company of Ghana Manganese Company Limited for the construction of a $450 million United States dollars manganese refinery at Nsuta. Moreover, the establishment of the Ghana Integrated Aluminum Development Corporation and the Ghana Integrated Iron and Steel Development Corporation degraded forests were cultivated between 2017 and 2023. And under the Green Ghana project, over 52 million trees have been planted in just 4 years of its implementation. In 2023, Ghana became the second country in Africa under the Ghana Cocoa Red Plus program. We've also completed all the necessary steps under the voluntary partnership agreement with the European Union. And effective June this year, Ghana will become the first African country and the second globally to issue forest law enforcement, government, and trade licenses. Yeah, if arguments still rage over what there is to show for the fight against galamsey and the effects of irresponsible mining, there can be no such arguments about the introduction of the free SHS and free TVET programs. Another policy that did not have universal approval when I sought to introduce it on coming into office. However, I believe this is one of the rare occasions on which we can use the word transformational without any danger of abusing the word. We have transformed education, and there can never be a reversal, of the fact that some 5.7 million young people have gained access to secondary education who would otherwise not have had the opportunity, but for free SHS and free TVET. Indeed, administration has also prioritized technical and vocational education and training, TVET, establishing 34 new TVET institutions and upgrading 62 existing ones to equip our youth with 21st century skills. Mr. Speaker, I'm proud that we were brave enough to start the free SHS policy at the beginning of my first term and resisted the calls for a gradual introduction. I'm glad that we've removed from the Ghanaian mindset the belief that secondary school education is only for people from certain households and families. From 2020, when the first cohort of free senior high school candidates sat for the WACC, Ghana has consistently recorded over 50% of candidates scoring A1 to C6 in all 4 core subjects. This marks a stark improvement compared to the years prior, particularly the period when pass rates in core subjects were largely below 50%. This year's results, the 2024 results, have maintained the laudable trend from 2020. Indeed, only 51.6% of candidates achieved A1 to C6 in English in 2016, compared to a much higher 69.52% in 2024. For integrated science, the pass rate improved from 48.35% in 2016 to 58.77% in 2024. Mathematics demonstrated the most dramatic progress, rising from a mere 33.12% pass rate in 2016 to an impressive 66.86% in 2024. Social studies followed a similar trend, improving from 54.55% in 2016 to 71.53% in 2024. Moreover, the 2023 WACC results stand out as the best in the history of the examination. No amount of shouts will displace data. It will not happen. The data is there. As the best in the history of the examination, with record-breaking performances across all core subjects. It is obvious then that our reforms have not only expanded access, but have also enhanced the quality of education. I am glad that we have led where they properly belong, and that they will no longer be seen as the option for those who cannot make the top grade. We have embarked on the development of 20 STEM centers and 10 model STEM senior high schools across the nation, and also constructed 186 new science laboratories nationwide. The other day, I commissioned the Accra STEM Academy, which is destined to play a key role in the future of STEM education in our country. These institutions are designed to provide hands-on learning experiences with cutting-edge facilities. From coding to robotics, our students are being prepared for the demands of the 21st century. It has not been without challenges, but the results are evident. I'm delighted with the infrastructure transformation that has taken place on our school and university campuses. This was displayed in a dramatic fashion a few weeks ago when the Ministry of Education staged the simultaneous commissioning of 80 new educational facilities across the nation. I do not suggest that we have finished what we set out to do, but we have certainly established what a kindergarten is supposed to be like. We've established what a primary school should be like. We've set standards for what constitutes a JHS. Science laboratories are now integral parts of junior and senior high schools, and computer tablets are available for all school children. Mr. Speaker, now we know and accept that a public school building can be painted in beautiful and attractive colors. Mr. Speaker, we have aimed to make the learning and teaching atmosphere a happy one for all school children and their teachers. We spent a lot of resources on education in the past 8 years, and I'm persuaded that it is money well spent, and the long-lasting benefits for our society will provide the justification for the expenditure. Mr. Speaker, it is impossible to make any meaningful accounting of my time in office without reference to the COVID pandemic. With the passage of time, it is easy to play down the extent of the catastrophe that brought our world to a thundering halt and brought wild animals to lounge on highways. Do we remember that airports around the world were closed, and some 2 years after the formal end of the pandemic, worldwide shipping and cargo freight have not returned to normal? Schools were closed around the world, and it took courage to reopen our schools. And there are parts of the world that have not yet made up for the closure of schools necessitated by the pandemic. Probably, Mr. Speaker, the most poignant aspect of those times was not the fear that gripped us all, but the fact that we were unable to hold hands or hug each other, and we could not have funerals for our dead. It is worth emphasizing the point that with the help of the Ghanaian people and the guidance of the Almighty, we managed the pandemic in our country to the admiration of the whole world. Indeed, during the COVID-19 pandemic, Ghana emerged as a leader in Africa, managing the crisis with a balanced approach that prioritized lives and livelihoods. We were among the first countries on the continent to secure vaccines and roll out a comprehensive vaccination program. The establishment of our own vaccine manufacturing facility under the supervision of the National Vaccine Institute, a body created by Act of Parliament, in Health. the economy. But let me first deal briefly with the effects on the health sector. This pandemic showed us some of the alarming shortcomings of our health delivery system, and we have strived the number of ambulances from 55 barely functioning ambulances to over 300, ensuring timely emergency response and saving countless lives. The strides in healthcare reflect our collective commitment to build a system that prioritizes the dignity, health, and well-being of every Ghanaian. Furthermore, we've revived the National Health Insurance Scheme, which at one point before I came into office appeared to be reverting to the days of cash and carry. The number of subscribers has risen from 10.6 million in 2016 to 17.9 million at the end of 2023. With the renewal of subscriptions being facilitated by a tap on the mobile phone, risen from 10.6 million in 2016 to 17.9 million at the end of 2023. With the renewal of subscriptions being facilitated by a tap on the mobile phone and the scope of the scheme broadened to include treatment for sickle cell disease, kidney dialysis, and childhood cancers. Mr. Speaker, our economy took a bigger hit from the COVID-19 pandemic and ensuing consequences than had been anticipated. And in 2021 and 2022, we were in unaccustomed trouble. Our economy, which in my first term had been widely acknowledged to have performed creditably, marked by the longest period of single-digit inflation, 7% average GDP real growth rate, and strong external balances, was on its knees. The government's difficulties in Parliament, with the slimmest of majorities, gave the impetus to the international rating agencies to trash us on their assumption that we would struggle to get financial policy measures passed through the legislature. We faced the problems we encountered with equanimity, took a deep breath, and decided to apply for an IMF-supported program, dubbed Post-COVID-19 Program for Economic Growth, PCPEG, in the middle of 2023. The implementation of the program so far has gone well, even as it has been challenging. We have passed successfully through 3 successive reviews of program implementation by the IMF board, with the most recent review approved on 2nd December 2024, leading to the disbursement of $360 million United States dollars. The fund has therefore disbursed a cumulative $1.2 billion United States dollars to date. At the moment, I'm able to say with confidence that the crisis is over, that the economy has recovered strongly and faster than projected. In order for me to be able to make this assertion, I must make reference to the debt restructuring exercise. It affected many bondholders and was one of the most challenging decisions my administration had to undertake. It was not a choice made lightly, as we were acutely aware of the personal and financial hardships it would impose on individuals, families, and institutions across the country. Many citizens had invested their hard-earned savings, and we fully understood the pain and sacrifices this exercise demanded. However, it became evident that without such bold and decisive action, our economy would have faced an even greater crisis with far-reaching consequences for every Ghanaian. This restructuring was essential to address unsustainable debt levels and to create the fiscal space needed to stabilize the economy and lay the groundwork for future growth. It was critical in ensuring that Ghana could meet her financial obligations, regain the confidence of international and domestic investors, and restore our economic credibility. Through the resilience and understanding of the Ghanaian people, coupled with the strategic measures we implemented, we have been able to chart a path towards the recovery that is underway. Today, we're witnessing the positive outcomes of the painful but yet necessary exercise. The economy is rebounding strongly. Our fiscal position is more stable, and our debt sustainability has significantly improved. These developments have provided a solid foundation for sustained growth and development, ensuring that the sacrifices made by bondholders and other stakeholders will not be in vain, but rather the basis of Ghana's economic revival. Mr. Speaker, the country is not broke, as some propagandists want us to believe. We're handing over the country with gross international reserves of almost $8 billion United States dollars. This is more than the $6.2 billion United States dollars of gross international reserves my administration inherited in 2017. Economic growth. The noise will not shut out the statistics. And I intend to put the statistics on the record of Hansa, no matter the amount of noise. Mr. Speaker, economic growth, honorable members, the level of interruption is high. Please, honorable members, His Excellency the President is not out of order. Please. Honorable members, your statistics might be different from his, but
That doesn't mean he's misleading the House. He is in order. Please, Your Excellency, continue.
Mr. Speaker, the statistics cannot be different. There's only one set of statistics that there is. It cannot be different. Your Excellency, truth is indivisible. Truth is indivisible. It's one and one only.
Your Excellency,
thank you very much.
As an accomplished member of Parliament, you are out of order.
Mr. Speaker, economic growth has also returned to the pre-COVID trajectory, with the impressive growth rate rising from 4.8% in the first quarter of 2024, 7% in the second quarter, and 7.2% in the third quarter. It is projected that this year's growth rate will be 6.3%, significantly higher than the 3.4% my administration inherited in 2017. The growth of the economy is further reflected in the growth of private sector credit. Private sector credit in nominal terms grew by 28.87% in October 2024, compared to the negative 7.5% growth recorded in the same comparative period of 2023. In real terms, growth in credit to the private sector improved to 5.5% compared to a contraction of 31.6% recorded in October 2023. It is further reinforced by improved external balances, with the current account balancing improving significantly to a surplus of 2.6% of GDP in the first 9 months of the year, compared to a deficit of 6.6% of GDP in 2016. In much the same way, the trade balance has improved and stands at a surplus of 3.85 billion United States dollars, compared with a deficit of 1.8 billion United States dollars in 2016. Headline inflation, which stood at 23% in November, is still very high, but this is coming down from 54% recorded in December 2022, following the effects of COVID-19 and other global economic pressures. Encouragingly, food prices have also begun to decline, bringing some relief to households and contributing to a reduction in the overall cost of living. Government has implemented significant measures to address the hardships that accompanied the economic difficulties. These include increased budgetary allocations towards the school feeding program, the capitation grant, the National Health Insurance Scheme, and the Livelihood Empowered Against Poverty program, LEAP. The stock of public and publicly guaranteed debt increased during the economic difficulties. However, the government is servicing its debts, honoring coupon payments for both domestic bonds and Euro bonds. Moreover, the debt levels are reducing, recording a significant reduction in the debt stock by 46.8 billion Ghana cedis to 761.0 billion Ghana cedis in October 2024, from 807.9 billion Ghana cedis in September 2024. The public debt to GDP ratio, therefore, reduced from 79.2% in September 2024 to 74.6% in October 2024. This is expected to reduce further to 55% of GDP in net present value terms, a level that restores Ghana's debt sustainability. It is hoped that the new government will continue with the policies being implemented. By January 2025, my government will honor coupon payments to our Eurobond holders amounting to 346 million United States dollars. We cannot that I want to give to the incoming finance minister. These achievements demonstrate our firm commitment to the policies, structural reforms, and program objectives and targets under the program. Let me at this juncture state unequivocally that the banking sector cleanup undertaken by my administration was an act of necessity, not of vendetta. It was a bold and decisive intervention to safeguard the strength and integrity of Ghana's financial system. The illegalities and irregularities perpetuated threatened the very foundation of our banking sector and jeopardized the hard-earned savings of millions of Ghanaians. Our actions ensured that not a single depositor lost their money, an unprecedented achievement in financial crisis management. Today, the results are there for all to see. A more robust, stable, and resilient banking sector capable of driving economic growth and supporting the aspirations of our people. It was a necessary decision to restore public confidence and secure the future of Ghana's financial sector. Mr. Speaker, my government recognized at the very outset that the fight against corruption required more than rhetoric. It demanded systemic, sustained, and strategic action. To this end, my government initiated a holistic program of legislative, administrative, financial, and technological reforms. Indeed, one of my most satisfactory moments as president was when we established the Office of the Special Prosecutor. For me, this was not just another government office. It was, and still is, a symbol of our determination to tackle corruption head on. I wanted Ghanaians to know that no one, no matter their rank or status, would be above the law. Its creation was initially met with considerable skepticism in some quarters, but I believe now that there is general consensus that has been an important contributor to our anti-corruption efforts. During my first term, we passed the Witness Protection Act in 2018, creating a framework to safeguard individuals who cooperate with law enforcement, especially in corruption cases. Furthermore, the Criminal Offences Amendment Act 2020 elevated corruption from a misdemeanor to a felony, with harsher penalties of 12 to 25 years of imprisonment. We also enacted key laws such as the Fiscal Responsibility Act, the Revenue Administration Amendment Act, and the Anti-Money Laundering Act, all of which have strengthened our institutional framework to combat corruption and ensure accountability. We ensured that all allegations of corruption leveled against appointees, which generally dismiss them as unfounded. Budgetary support for accountability institutions has also witnessed SHRA's budget increased by 99%, Parliament's by 100%, the Office of the Attorney General by 162%, the Audit Service by 258%, and the police by 274%. These investments reflect my administration's commitment to empowering these institutions to discharge their mandates effectively, which means that the tools needed to exact accountability from all public office holders. The application of these tools, whilst respecting as it should due process and the rule of law, however, should pose no problem, no fears for any honest public office holder. I remember the early days of these reforms when skepticism abounded. People asked, will this really make a difference? Today, the numbers speak for themselves. The Auditor General's report for 2023 showed a reduction of 5.2 billion cedis in financial irregularities, a 32% drop from the previous year. I speak, you're not listening to me. You're not listening to me. I've just explained to you. From the previous year, I just said so. Listen, open your ears and listen to me. Mr. Speaker, my government has undertaken impressive reforms to strengthen Ghana's judiciary, enhancing both capacity and accessibility. Key achievements include addressing court infrastructure challenges with the construction of 100 courthouses, 90 of which have been completed and are operational, making it the biggest single infrastructural intervention for the judiciary in our nation's history. The establishment of the Court of Appeal complex in Kumasi, along with 20 townhouses and a guest house for justices in the northern sector, now enables appeals from 11 regions to be handled locally, reducing delays in justice delivery. Additionally, the implementation of the e-justice system has digitized case management and streamlined processes, solidifying the judiciary's role as a bulwark of Ghana's democracy and development. Moreover, the Law House, a modern facility for the Office of the Attorney General, has now been completed. Mr. Speaker,
let's have some order and let's continue with the business. Your Excellency, you may do so now.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Apologize for that. Mr. Speaker, as I was saying, infrastructure development has been a cornerstone of this administration. The construction and rehabilitation of over 12,000 kilometers of roads have improved connectivity and reduced travel times. These projects have not only facilitated trade, but also enhanced access to essential services. It is fitting, therefore, to acknowledge that this administration has constructed more roads and interchanges than any other in our nation's history. In the Greater Accra region alone, we have completed the Pokwase Interchange, Tema Motorway Interchange Phase 1, Obechebi Lamte Interchange Phase 1, the East Legon Underpass, and recently, the Flower Pot Interchange. Beyond Accra, we have also delivered the first ever interchanges in the Eastern region at Sohum and in the Northern region at Tamale. Each of these projects tells a story of commitment, foresight, and a Ghana that is continuously moving forward. There are 14 additional interchanges currently underway across Ghana, each at different stages of completion. In Greater Accra, we're building interchanges at Roberto Milamte Interchange Phase 2, Nungwa, Ajingrano, Bone Barrier, Pram Pram, Dawinya, Savannah, and Tema Motorway Phase 2. In the Ashanti region, ongoing projects include the Swami Interchange Phase 1, Anumanje, Makro, Magazine New Road, Ebusiakura, and Abrepo, as well as the PTC interchange in Takrady in the Western region. These projects represent the scale of our ambition, a commitment to excellence and growth that knows no limits. Mr. Speaker, in aviation, we have expanded airports, including the construction of the Yakubu Tali International Airport in Tamale, the Prempeh the First International Airport in Kumasi, the rehabilitation of the Sunyani Airport in Sunyani, and the completion of the Ho Airport in Ho. These projects position Ghana as a hub for regional air travel. Mr. Speaker, over the past 7 years, we have revitalized Ghana's railway sector, undertaking key projects to modernize and expand the network. Notable achievements include the rehabilitation of the 66-kilometer narrow-gauge Western Line from Kojokrom to Takwa, the construction of a 22-kilometer standard-gauge line between Kojokrom and Manso, and securing funding to extend the Western Line from Manso to Huni Valley, connecting to the port of Takrady. Additionally, a 6-kilometer standard-gauge line in Kumasi is underway, and the Tema Mpakadan line has been completed. Progress of the Ghana-Burkina Faso Railway Project further underscores efforts to enhance regional trade and integration. Mr. Speaker, we have made some good strides in improving the housing sector. Over the period, we built 1,070 affordable houses and broke ground for an additional 800 in the Greater Accra region. We've also established the National Home Ownership Fund, which is delivering 534 homes in Tema Community 22. We delivered the 1,000 homes to the security services and are delivering 600 homes for public servants through the Bungalow Redevelopment Program. Mr. Speaker, the transport sector has also seen the deployment of electric buses in major cities, reducing carbon emissions and aligning with our climate change commitments. These advancements signal Ghana's commitment to building a sustainable transport infrastructure for the future. Behind every completed road and bridge is the story of lives transformed, farmers reaching markets, students accessing schools, and families connected. Mr. Speaker, my government has prioritized the modernization of Ghana's maritime infrastructure, with the Takoradi Harbour standing as a shining example of this commitment. The port has been transformed into a world-class facility, enhancing its capacity to meet the demands of modern trade and of the oil and gas industry. In November 2024, I commissioned the state-of-the-art oil and gas services service providers and other key players in the energy sector. Additionally, I launched a dry bulk terminal and the Atlantic Services Container Terminal, diversifying the port's capabilities and solidifying its role as a critical player in inter-regional and international commerce. We have also begun the processes for the construction of another modern port at Kita. These efforts are positioning Ghana as a leading logistics and shipping hub in Africa, creating jobs, boosting investor confidence, and ensuring sustainable economic growth for our nation. Mr. Speaker, agriculture remains the backbone of our economy, and our investments in this sector have been transformative. Through the distribution of over 2.7 million bags of fertilizers and improved seedlings, we have increased crop yields and enhanced food security. For example, maize production increased by 110%, rice by 48%, and soybean by 150% between 2017 and 2023. The establishment of 140 agricultural mechanization centers and the rehabilitation of irrigation schemes have modernized farming practices and reduced dependence on rain-fed agriculture. The establishment of warehouse facilities under the One District, One House initiative has also helped reduce post-harvest losses by 30%. The net effect of these policies is that our agricultural GDP growth rate rose significantly from 2.7% in 2016 to an average of 5.7% in 2023. Our cocoa sector has also witnessed remarkable improvements, with productivity increasing from an average of 450 kilograms per hectare to 800 kilograms per hectare, making Ghana a leader in sustainable cocoa production. The living income differential policy, a policy agreed to by President Alassane Ouattara of Cote d'Ivoire and myself, under the aegis of the Strategic Partnership Agreement between our two countries, which is a fixed premium of 400 United States dollars per ton, added to the selling price of cocoa beans, irrespective of fluctuations in market prices, ensure that our hard-working cocoa farmers receive a fairer share of the global value chain, indeed, receiving the highest prices in the history of the cocoa industry in Ghana. We were told by the minority leader on the campaign trail and in the presence of the now president-elect that my successor will increase the price per bag of cocoa from the current 3,100 cedis to 6,000 cedis. Our farmers will be very happy when this pledge is realized. In the fisheries sector, Mr. Speaker, the construction of 12 landing sites and cold storage facilities across the coastal regions, along with the commissioning of the Jamestown Fishing Harbor and the Amina Fishing Harbor, has improved livelihoods and reduced post-harvest losses. These interventions have significantly boosted the incomes of our fisher folk and contributed to the sustainability of our marine resources. We have also enforced measures to combat illegal, unreported, and unregulated fishing, protecting our marine biodiversity for future generations, improving the doubting Thomas wrong about our commitment to transforming the fisheries industry. This week, Ghana has made significant progress in expanding electricity access, with the electricity access rate increased to 88.85%, up from the 79.3% I inherited. In renewable energy, completed projects such as the 4-megawatt floating solar PV at Bui and the 15-megawatt solar PV at Kaleo, together with a 100-megawatt solar PV under construction at Bui and a mini-grid electrification program in Ada East, have advanced efforts to reach the 10% renewable energy target by 2030. Mr. Speaker, it is worth emphasizing that I inherited a nation plagued by doomsday, but I'm very happy to say that I leave office with the lights on. This achievement did not come without its challenges. When my administration assumed office, we inherited an energy sector legacy debt of $2.5 billion United States dollars. The Energy Sector Recovery Program, developed by government and the World Bank, projected that this debt would balloon to a staggering $12.5 billion United States dollars within 5 years if no decisive actions were taken. We knew that such a scenario would cripple the sector, undermine investor confidence, and plunge the nation back into darkness. Mr. Speaker, we got to work immediately. Through tough negotiations with independent power producers, prudent financial management, and targeted interventions, we've been able to stabilize the sector while keeping the lights on. I'm pleased to report that we've kept the energy sector legacy debt to $2.5 billion, the same level we inherited, and have averted the $12.5 billion debt scenario, despite the rising cost of energy production and the global economic challenges that have unfolded during my tenure. The energy sector has been truly transformed, and I'm leaving office confident that the foundations we have laid will serve this nation well for generations to come. Mr. Speaker, one of the most notable milestones of my administration has been the creation of 6 new regions: Western North, Akuffo, Bono East, Oti, Northeast, and Savannah. This historic achievement responded to decades of passionate advocacy by local communities for a governance structure that brings development closer to the people. Today, these regions stand as evidence of our commitment to equitable development, with enhanced access to public services, infrastructure, and economic opportunities for millions of Ghanaians. Additionally, my administration championed a bold vision for local governance by advocating for the election of Metropolitan, Municipal, and District Chief Executives, MMDCEs. Though the process was unfortunately aborted, I remain hopeful that in the not-too-distant future, this vision will become a reality. Such a reform would deepen democratic accountability and empower citizens to shape their local governance directly, ensuring that Ghana's democracy continues to grow stronger and more inclusive. Mr. Speaker, the youth are the heartbeat of our nation, and we have implemented programs to empower them. From the National Youth Authority reforms to sports infrastructure development, we've ensured that young Ghanaians have the tools and opportunities to thrive. The construction of some 150 AstroTurf pitches across the country and the rehabilitation of existing stadia have boosted Ghana's standing as a hub for international sports, including hosting successfully, despite all odds, the 2023 All-Africa Games. Creating an entrepreneurial climate has been a cornerstone of my administration's vision for empowering Ghana's youth. From the establishment of the National Entrepreneurship and Innovation Programs, NEIP, in 2017, with a $10 million United States seed fund, to the transformative Greenhouse Estate Project and Entrepreneurship and Innovation Center in 2020. We have supported 15,000 startups, trained 250,000 young entrepreneurs, and created over 100,000 jobs. Initiatives being implemented by the Ghana Enterprises Agency, GEA, like the Ghana Economic Transformation Program, the Hubs Grant and Acceleration Program, CAP-BUS, U-START, and the Ghana Cares Obantapa Program, have further strengthened this vision, benefiting some 1.6 million Ghanaians and dispersing over 2 billion cedis in loans and grants. These efforts have sparked innovation, created jobs, and laid the foundation for a thriving entrepreneurial ecosystem, leaving a legacy of opportunity and growth. Mr. Speaker, in tourism, the year of return in 2019 and beyond the return initiatives attracted over 1.5 million visitors. These campaigns not only boosted our economy, but also strengthened ties with the African diaspora, positioning Ghana as a premier destination for cultural heritage and investment. The establishment of ecotourism sites and cultural heritage projects has further diversified our tourism offerings, attracting global attention. One of the significant undertakings in this sector has been the renovation of the Kwame Nkrumah Mausoleum. This celebrated site, dedicated to the memory of our first president, Kwame Nkrumah, has been transformed into a world-class facility that honors his legacy and attracts visitors from around the globe. The renovations include modernized exhibits, improved infrastructure, and enhanced visitor experiences, ensuring that the mausoleum remains a symbol of Ghana's rich history and a source of inspiration for generations to come. As visitors walk through the mausoleum, they are reminded of the sacrifices and vision that built the foundations of our nation. The Nationalism Park, which I recently commissioned, and which commemorates other important personalities in our independence struggle, like Nii Kwabena Boni, Usuala Tamanche, and the legendary 3X servicemen of the 1948 Christiansborg Crossroads shooting fame, Sergeant Ajete, Corporal Achipo, and Private Odati Lample, has also been added to this development, as will be the proposed Heroes Park, whose sword I cut recently, and whose purpose will be to celebrate the legendary Big Six of UGCC fame and other great figures of our path to freedom. Mr. Speaker, our security forces have been equipped with modern tools and training to safeguard the nation. In Ezinlibo, in the Western region, the Barracks Regeneration Project, the equipping of the military and police, with the police receiving helicopters for the first time in our nation's history, the acquisition of advanced surveillance systems, and recruitment of over 10,000 police officers have enhanced our capability to combat threats and maintain peace. The successes of our anti-terrorism programs and cross-border security initiatives reflect our commitment to national and regional safety. In line with our commitment to aligning with international military norms and enhancing the authority of our top military officials, I'm pleased, as Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, to announce the elevation of the Chief of the Defense Staff, CDS, to the rank of General, and the Chiefs of Staff, the Chiefs of Army Staff, Navy Staff, Air Force, and the Chief of Staff at the General Headquarters to the rank of Lieutenant General or its equivalent. These promotions, alongside our successes in anti-terrorism programs and cross-border security initiatives, position Ghana as a serious player in defense and bolster our international partnerships in peacekeeping and security. In communications, the digitization of public services, including the Ghana card, mobile money interoperability, and e-services, has transformed service delivery and improved transparency. These initiatives have positioned Ghana as a leader in digital transformation on the continent, with over 18 million Ghanaians enrolled in the National Identification System. The expansion of broadband connectivity to rural areas has bridged the digital divide, ensuring inclusive access to the opportunities of the digital economy. Every citizen's ability to engage with technology is a testament to our shared belief in progress and innovation. Mr. Speaker, we have tried to make real many of the slogans that have dominated our public discourse since independence. I'm proud to have approved visa-free travel to Ghana for all African passport holders with effect from the beginning of this year. This is a logical next step to the African Continental Free Trade Area and the workings of the largest trading bloc in the world. All these are essential elements to the realization of the AU's Agenda 2063, which envisages an integrated and connected Africa by 2063. Mr. Speaker, I'm thrilled to state that under my leadership, Ghana has made significant strides in foreign policy, cementing our place as a respected voice on the African and global stage. It was during my tenure that Accra was unanimously chosen by the authority of heads of state and government of the African Union to host the Secretariat of the AFCFTA, a crucial phase in Africa's journey towards economic integration. We also secured Accra as host of the Climate Vulnerable Forum Secretariat, a grouping of 56 countries, reaffirming Ghana's commitment to leading the fight against climate change for vulnerable nations. As chair of ECOWAS for 2 successive terms, I had the privilege of guiding our region through challenges of political instability and economic recovery. Furthermore, Ghana secured a non-permanent seat on the United Nations Security Council for 2 years, allowing us to contribute meaningfully to global peace and security at a time of unparalleled changes. Indeed, it was Ghana that led the Security Council to adopt Security Council Resolution 2667, which provides for the United Nations to pay from assessed contributions 75% of expenses of UN peacekeeping operations in Africa, a matter that had been in controversy and unresolved for several years. Additionally, Ghana witnessed a moment of immense pride when Shirley Ayoko Botchwey, a distinguished Ghanaian, was elected as Secretary General of the Commonwealth. The first time a Ghanaian and an African woman has held this esteemed position. I hope the House will join me to extend hearty congratulations to our Foreign Minister, Honorable Shirley Ayoko Botchwey. It is a prestigious position, and I'm sure ensures she'll be a successful Secretary General and bring honor to Ghana. Another feather in the cap of Ghana's recent foreign policy has been the attainment this year of full membership of l'Organisation Internationale de la Francophonie, OIF, of which we have been an associate member for some 18 years. Our country, one of the few to be full members of both the Commonwealth of Nations and the Francophonie, has the opportunity to play a constructive role as a bridge between the Anglophone and Francophone worlds, particularly in Africa, enhancing our influence. These milestones reflect my administration's dedication to advancing Ghana's interests and strengthening our standing in the international community. Mr. Speaker, there is a subject that continues to attract a lot of public discussion, and that is the call by some for a review of the 1992 Constitution, under which we have operated in this Fourth Republic for the past 32 years. Mr. Speaker, there is no perfect constitution anywhere in the world. And with all its shortcomings, I would say that this constitution has served us well. It has provided the platform for the longest period of uninterrupted, stable, constitutional, democratic governance in our history. A constitution does not cure the irritations of the democratic process. There's no constitution that will satisfy the desires of those who do not believe in the democratic process. I would suggest that in the approach of the calls for a constitutional review, we should be guided by the old saying, festine lente, the Latin adage for hasten slowly. In this spirit, I'll be forwarding the document prepared and submitted to me by the Constitution Review Consultative Committee on proposals for the review of the Constitution, along with the concerns and suggestions raised, to the President-elect for his consideration as he prepares to assume the responsibilities of leadership. Mr. Speaker, elections are the main planks of the democratic structure. We've just had the 9th set of elections since 1992. The losing presidential candidate called the winner to congratulate him and made a public concession 14 hours after the close of polls, which it is widely agreed were conducted in a competent, free, and fair manner. I doubt there are many such examples anywhere in the world. Yes, we should condemn the outbreaks of violence that followed, and the assumption some had that because a presidential candidate had conceded defeat, the winning party should feel emboldened to cause mayhem. It appeared at one stage that the outburst of violence would overwhelm the police, who, in my view, need to re-examine rapidly their methods for containing such incidents in the future. I say so without prejudice to the excellent job they did in supervising the electoral process itself. I'm hoping that we will soon reach the stage where the unnecessary tensions that are simulated to accompany our elections will disappear, and elections will become simply something that we do, and do without a fuss and with flair. The efficient, praiseworthy manner in which the Jean Mensa-led Electoral Commission has conducted the past two elections of 2020 and 2024, despite their challenges, is a significant contribution to this end. Mr. Speaker, I would like to take the opportunity of this august podium to congratulate again my friend with whom I came into Parliament together for the first time in 1997, President-elect John Mahani Mahama. on his historic comeback victory of 7th December 2022. Assure him of my support and that of all well-meaning Ghanaians, and wish him well in his second term as President of the Republic. I take the opportunity also to congratulate Dr. Jane Nana Opoku Agyeman, the Vice President-elect, the first woman to occupy that status in our history. Mr. Speaker, you and I have made history of a kind these past 4 years, and I must acknowledge the role you played in keeping steady the ship of state and the governance structures of our country. This was the first time the executive has to deal with not just a parliament with the slimmest of majorities, but with a speaker from the opposition party. Mr. Speaker, we found a way to accommodate each other, and the government functioned successfully. I thank you. Mr. Speaker, I would like to take this opportunity also to express my gratitude to the Council of State under the chairmanship of its highly respected traditional ruler, Nana Otuosu II Grabini, for the great help it has given me in helping to steer the ship of state to a successful end. Nana and the members of the Council, I thank you very much for your invaluable counsel. The Speaker, as I prepare to leave office on 7 January 2025, I do so with immense gratitude for the trust and confidence the people of Ghana has placed in me over the last 8 years. It has been the highest privilege of my life to serve as president of this great nation. I've done so with an unwavering commitment, boundless energy, and a deep love for Ghana, always guided by the belief that our nation's best years lie ahead. Together we have weathered storms, celebrated victories, and laid the foundation for a brighter, more prosperous future. Reflecting on this journey, I'm filled with pride for what we have accomplished. From the transformative policies in education and healthcare, to the strides in agriculture, digitalization, energy, governance, infrastructure, industry, and trade. These achievements are not mine alone. They also belong to every Ghanaian who has contributed to the collective effort of nation building. We've demonstrated that through unity, resilience, and determination, we can overcome even the greatest challenges. I'm confident that the progress we have made will inspire future generations to dream bigger, aim higher, and achieve more for our beloved Ghana. Speaker, as I take my final bow, I do so in the certain knowledge that our nation will go from strength to strength, and that freedom and justice has taken hold forever in our body politic. The Speaker, I'm happy to hand over a Ghana that is safe, secure, united, and firmly rooted in her attachment to democratic principles and respect for the rule of law. A nation that continues to shine as a beacon of peace and stability in an often troubled Africa and an uncertain world. I leave behind a Ghana that is thriving, one that has navigated significant global challenges with remarkable tenacity, whose economy is steadily rebounding, and whose institutions are operating effectively. It's a Ghana where the youth are being empowered with opportunities to channel their energies into meaningful and productive endeavors, where the arts are beginning to flourish, and where the elderly can grow old in safety and dignity, and continue to make meaningful contributions to society. I leave behind, Mr. Speaker, a Ghana that is working. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I thank you for your attention.